Hello everyone. So, this is something a little bit different. I usually don't cover the Hearts of Iron 4 dev diaries, and that's for one or two reasons. Mostly it's just I don't really find that much of interest to share with you guys, but this one is particularly interesting for me. This is going to be on the Ironclad update 1.6. It's going to come out with the Man the Guns DLC, and it's called A Post-Colonial World, Map Changes and New Tags. Now this is what's really got me interested, because there's apparently supposed to be 59 new tags that they're adding to the world. 59 new releasable nations, as well as changes to the map and to accustom that. So down here, all this stuff is just, I don't know, I guess one of the people took a trip to Norway and visited some cannons. But then you get down to here, to Central Asia, an area owned by Soviet Union at the start of the game, and all of the SSRs that would have made that up. Now, for the majority, actually for the entirety of the game's existence, this area has been entirely under the control of the Soviet Union, with no ability to separate them out and release the nations that exist today. However, it seems like they're going to be adding that. Extensive work has been done to properly represent the tangled mess at the borders of Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and also the northern border of the latter two of these countries we have with Kazakhstan, the greatest country in the world. Further minor changes have been made to the Orenburg, Magnitogorsk borders with Kazakhstan in the northeast. This now allows us to have all these new nations. And yeah, it is an absolute mess with those previous tribes, now nations. But then also that goes on to say that they're adding some changes to India, because at the moment, you're able to release Pakistan, which is actually a little bit weird, because Pakistan is really, if you know the history of India, it's kind of the compromise made by the British as they left India, that they didn't want the Muslims of the country to be under a majority rule. They were worried about them, so they gave them the areas that were of a Muslim majority. They gave them into their own country called Pakistan, where a Paki is not an actual person. It's not an actual group of people that exists before. It's an acronym. It's like Punjabi, Afghan, something, and then something. I don't remember exactly what it stands for. It's also apparently a racial slur in British English, but I don't really get why. So, we go down here. This is what it is right now. But now we have East Bengal, which can become Bangladesh. So if we go down here, yeah, look at that little tiny Bangladesh, as opposed to Pakistan, because when Pakistan was originally released, it had this. Bangladesh was East Pakistan. However, Bangladesh didn't exactly enjoy being under Pakistan, so it broke free with the help of India. I also find it strange that they have the, I believe this would be how the Pakistanis would like this border to be, with Kashmir going to them. Whenever I see the map, I see the US map of this area, where Kashmir goes to India instead of Pakistan or China. And it doesn't just stop with India and Asia, where there's also Burma added. I just noticed that. And ooh, look at that, Sri Lanka. You get new things every day. But they also added a few nations into the Middle East. You can see now there's Kuwait, there's Qatar, and there's the United Arab Emirates. Of course, I can see down in that little, not entirely sure what you call that. It's Hormuz is that island there, so I don't know exactly what you call this one Gulf area, but I see that they don't have the actual horrific borders that the UAE has with Oman. You should really check them out on Google Earth. It is just like a border inside a border. It is so strange. But yeah, that's actually very nice, because it means, let's say if you conquer Great Britain, but then you don't want all these colonies, because at the moment these areas are just well, technically at this point they would probably be protectorates of the British, but in the game they're just owned directly by the British. Probably ahistorical, but it's for game simplicity. So you can release these nations, they can go about their merry way. Let's say you play Saudi Arabia and you want to release the nations. I don't know, do whatever you want. But then they also go on to the Americas, where they've added Belize, which is the English colony on Central America. They've added Jamaica, which is the English colony on that island. They have the Bahamas, which is up here, probably I don't know. What do you think the capital of that would be? Nassau? Maybe. Puerto Rico, finally. See, this is what I have actually been saying, that I doubt the game will start with Puerto Rico as its own nation. I think it'll just remain underneath America. But I do like that it's allowed the ability to be released. Because I remember that at one point there was a commenter who was saying that there shouldn't be a nation in Puerto Rico because it is effectively a colony state underneath America. It's a territory. It's not a colony so much because they are Americans, but they're also Puerto Ricans. But I just wanted there to be a releasable tag because then you can release it and it can be independent. If you conquer America, you can liberate the Puerto Ricans. There's also Guadalupe, which would be, I believe that's the French island over here. Trinidad and Tobago, which would be these two islands off of Venezuela, owned by the Dutch, I believe. For convenience, also including the British. Oh, maybe they're controlled by the British. For convenience, also including the British Windward and Leeward Islands. Oh, I see. Huh. That's odd. For convenience. Is it owned by the... I could have sworn it was owned by the Dutch. Maybe it's owned by the British. Guyana, which would be this country down here, owned by the British. Suriname, which is owned by the Dutch, right there. And oddly enough, not this French land, but I guess that makes sense considering the modern day world, that is still under direct French control. It is a overseas province of France. It is not its own nation. It's not a colony. I don't know. I don't know if you'd call it a colony. I mean, it's technically a colony because it's not de jure French land, but it's remained French land even past the decolonization of the French Empire. And then, I hate pronouncing Dutch words, Curacao, which would be this island off of Venezuela and off of Colombia. Then we have Africa. Oh boy, where do we start? So this is the current borders of releasable nations, although they didn't release Zaire of Congo. So they have Zimbabwe, which covers a lot of territory, and they have Kenya, which covers a lot of Kenya. It's just a lot. So this is the new borders where you can have Kenya, Uganda, Burundi, Tanzania, Zambia, Malawi? Yeah, Malawi, that's it. Zimbabwe and Botswana, as well as you can still have the Portuguese colonies of Angola and Mozambique. Italy can still... Oh, do they mention if Italy can break apart into Somalia? I do not know. I'm assuming that they can, and they're just showing off the differences of the allies, because the allies have been the ones that have really been suffering. Also, I see that they don't have a separated Madagascar over here. Interesting. Moving along, we have Central Africa, I suppose you could call it, which was very underrepresented. They had massive states to represent the fact that there's not a whole lot going on there during World War II, but then you can separate it out into, I suppose these ones. We got Cameroon over here. Oh, is that Cameroon? I forget. This part of the world I'm not that good at. This would be the Central African Republic in the modern day. This one would be something Congo Republic, democracy. Oh, they're all just... I don't know if any of them actually follow democracy or republics that are very good. Then we go to... Oh, Central Africa before and after. Then this is West Africa, which, yeah, that was the area that's probably the most shafted. We had like Senegal over here, and then this entire area and its massive population was just one province in the French. Now it's split up into, Cote d'Ivoire, Togoland, Dahomey. Oh, would it be released to Dahomey? I do not know. It is released to Dahomey in Kaiserreich, and that is all I know. We have areas of probably Niger over there. Oh, it's been a long time. Oh, here's the list. Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Sudan, Eritrea, Djibouti, Somalia. Oh, so it is. Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, Malawi, Zambia, Republic of the Congo, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, Cameroon, Central African Republic, Chad. Ooh, that'd be fun. What about a Chad world conquest? And then you can just post it straight to Reddit and say, Chad. Nigeria, Niger. Oh, it is Dahomey. Togo, Upper Volta, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau. Okay, then. Is that a real country? It's been a long time since I've stared at the African map. Senegal and Gambia. Gambia. The most important of Gambias. So yeah, that's a pretty much spot-on modern-day map of this area. And that, except for this, come on. That's what, I forget what nation that was. It's like Mauritania or something. Come on. I think, oh, that's why. At the moment, this area here is entirely covered by deserts. It's technically not a usable province, which is why they can't do anything with it. Ooh. Okay. Well then. Then moving on to, even Europe has gotten a little bit of the treatment. So, Bessarabia, which is this area here, and is probably Romania's worst nightmare when the USSR starts asking for it, it's going to be split up into North and South Bessarabia so that it can have the modern-day Ukrainian and Moldovan borders. Meanwhile, and this is something that I'm actually very happy for, the section of, I think it's Ostpreußen in the game, will be changed to Königsberg and Ostpreußen. No, Königsberg will be split off from Ostpreußen. Will the other one still be called Ostpreußen? Furthermore, I split Wilnau state, remaining the East Wilnau, and adding a new state, West Wilnau, and divisions between which follow the modern-day Lithuanian borders. In addition, there's a little secret for those players who lead Lithuania to victory and controls West Wilnau, and the rest control the state from them. Interesting. So yeah, West Wilnau is there, if you want to make his modern-day borders, as well as, which one would be which? Königsberg up here? I actually forget where that city is. I think it's up in this area, because, yeah, it has to be. Königsberg is modern-day Kaliningrad, which is a little tiny pocket of Russia, far, far away from where Russia is now. And also, people on the subreddit have been always complaining about, and probably continue to complain about the Yugoslavian borders, so now they've changed it up to make things a little bit better for when, I believe that'll be when Serbia is released. So here's a little bit of an image, as well as Scotland and Wales is coming home, boys. Unfortunately, no Cornwall, so yeah, sorry any Cornish viewers. That's, okay, so this one goes to Scotland. What is that, the Orkneys? Shetlands? I forget which one those are. Republic of Belarus, Republic of the Ukraine, Lithuania with the modern-day borders, Latvia, Estonia, a little bit of Russia right there, Kaliningrad, Poland, German Reich, Czechoslovakia exists still. It's a bit silly. Can you split off Slovakia from the beginning of the game? I don't know if you can. Yugoslavia. Now, what I'm rather interested in, total list of new tags. Malta has been added to the game, Moldova, Scotland, and Wales. What I'm wondering is, will Bosnia be added? Because I don't remember if it was. I know this is Croatia, because that's what the Germans unleash. I know this is Serbia. I think I remember a Moldova, holding Kosovo, but what I don't remember is if there was a Bosnia and Herzegovina, because that one was always like the one little area, or a Macedon, or what's it called now? Macedonia? Yeah, Macedonia. There still needs to be a Bosnia and Macedonia, if nothing, unless I'm completely mistaken. It might be. I don't usually check these dev diaries often. I usually just kind of skim them over and move on with my day. But yeah, in total, 8 new provinces entirely, 22 new states, 59 new releasable tags, and a lot of provinces and state border changes. This is pretty dang good. I am enjoying this. Now the answer of whether or not they will make it so that smaller nations like Micronesia or these islands, a lot of the small, little tiny possessions of usually Britain, France, and America, Japan, I do not know if they're going to be able to be released. And also, if that ain't a Papua New Guinea right there, well, there's a Papua New Guinea. Kind of sad that I don't see an East Timor, but yeah, you take it, you leave it. Ooh, there's a lot of new nations, and that's going to be very good because it allows modders to just add in new focus trees for these nations if they want. I mean, seriously, I could definitely see pretty early on someone's going to make a meme focus tree about Chad with just all, I don't know, maybe the Chad walk, all your infantry starts to move faster. Who knows? I would also like to see that. As well as, if you haven't been paying attention, there's also going to be this British decolonization, because the British are getting a serious rework to their focus tree coming out in the next patch. So decolonization, because they say here that with all these new nations, it might be a little bit overpowered for you to just release them all to begin with, so that they use their generic tech trees and get a whole bunch of industry, much more than you would ever have gotten from using those provinces under your own rule. So it has to be done kind of organically instead of just letting them all out at one time. So multiple people wondering if representing semi-autonomous regions as puppets rather than integrated colony territories, and that's not something they've decided yet. Honestly, I think this is a good step for the just kind of mindset for making this game. Because if they make all of the historical borders now, they can also think of what about other interpretations of what could have happened. Like, what if there is... I know that South Africa has one mission where it's the... what's it called? It's like the colonization, anti-imperial crusaders or something, where you're trying to take back all of Africa from the European imperialists and make them their own nations. That is going to make this... all these new nations are going to make that playthrough really worth it. I think that might be something I do at the very beginning. Maybe a game of UK, a game of America, and a game of South Africa, just for all these new changes. And even British Raj, even though I'd like to keep it together, thank you, I wouldn't want to split it apart if I'm going to bomb the world. And if I take out the Soviet Union, now we can take out Kazakhstan. That would be very fun. I am enjoying this. Let's see. What do you guys think would be some fun new nations for them to add? And ahistorical, things that don't actually exist but could hypothetically exist. Like, I'm thinking potentially a lot of African nations divided as they would see fit instead of how the Europeans saw fit, because a lot of these nations, their borders were formed by the European colonies that left them. However, if we're looking at, what about an African perspective, how their nations would look like? A return of, say, it might be a bit far to go with them all the way back to the Malians. There is Dahomey already, so maybe it's too much. Maybe a Zulu land in South Africa, where the Zulus can get their own independence. Or what about the Boers? Give them their land back that is down there. That could be interesting. I don't know too much about the African history to know about some of these areas before European colonization. I mean, Congo could possibly have something about reclaiming all of their land. Somalia could have something about taking back this territory from Ethiopia, because that's technically something they could do, as well as Djibouti, because that's technically French Somalia. And other than that, I've just kind of been rambling in this video. Thanks for watching, though. I'll see you guys whatever video you watch next. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Bye-bye!